Hey there, everybody. From the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Fort Mill in the shadow of Charlotte, the buckle of the Bible Belt, and at the foot of Mount Belzoni, this is the York County Democratic Party podcast and YouTube show. We call it YCDP TV. And this is episode 7, explicitly a library. I'm Gary Pierce, host for this episode, and here's the deal. One of our county council members, his name is Tom Audette, and he'll leave the light on for you. Well, Tom has been on a bit of a crusade at the county council about some books in the York County libraries that he and his constituents don't like. These are books written for kids on topics like getting to know our bodies and understanding gender identities. At the May 15th county council meeting, a bunch of Tom's constituents, most of them from Fort Mill with addresses that are near that big abandoned high-rise left over from the Jim and Tammy days. Well, they told the council what they didn't like about those books.
A picture of a nude man.
Transgender material, or indeed any sexually deviant material.
Books that are unsuitable for children.
Jesus said
sexually explicit content.
sexually explicit books in the library, inappropriate materials.
Inappropriate books.
Sexually explicit material.
Sexually inappropriate material.
There were also some York County Democrats at that meeting, and they made some comments too. And I'm going to make a separate video with those comments because, well, those people are some of our heroes. It's not easy to stand up before any government body and make a clear, cogent statement. But for this episode, to keep things short, I want to concentrate on the books. I heard the descriptions, but I wanted to see for myself. I couldn't find any pictures of any of the books that Tom had mentioned at the meeting online, so I bought the book UBU, and I learned what Tom Audette considered naked people fully exposed.
And this book is called UBU, The Guide to Gender, Sexuality, and Family. On here is a naked picture drawing of a naked man fully exposed, a naked woman fully exposed.
A picture of a nude man.
Fully exposed.
Well, that's pretty funny. Next, I was curious about what else there was at the library. One of our members, Katie Rutland, responded to me on Facebook, and I suggested we meet at the Fort Mill Library to explore a bit. And she agreed, so road trip. We appear to be rolling.
Perfect. We're rolling.
I'm Gary. I'm here with Katie.
Hi.
We are at the Fort Mill Public Library, brought to us by Tom Audette.
Yep.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks,
I
Tom.
probably wouldn't have showed up at the library in years and years if you hadn't brought me over here. You have been digging into some of the books that he has had some heartburn about.
Yes.
And what have you got here?
Okay, so I specifically made sure I checked out Pink, Blue, and You. This is one that he mentioned at the meeting at the very beginning of the month.
From one of the constituents that emailed me, and they said the content is not appropriate for my child. And this book, again, is called Pink, Blue, and You.
So this one is Pink, Blue, and You, and it was right here in our library here at Baxter, and this is the spread that he was most offended by and made sure he pointed it out to everybody in the meeting and referenced it.
It shows a girl and a boy talking in having this discussion on this page, and this page says to be a girl, to be a boy, or to be both, or to be neither. This is content that's in this libraries. And our kids and our grandchildren are seeing this content. To me, this is unacceptable.
Of course, he misinterpreted the punctuation and his inflection was improper, so that it was more inflammatory, of course. But there's this. He's real offended by cartoon genitalia.
Of which we see some very explicit
examples
it's here.
Really graphic.
Yeah, kids are going to be...
Yeah, when I read this to my 3 boys, they were shocked and they didn't know what to do with themselves.
I'm guessing they giggle.
I don't even think they registered it because we read books about children, about your bodies and body safety, and so this is nothing to them.
So at the York County Council meeting, which really has little to do with the library except maybe they provide the funding, and they said, we don't know why you're all here because we're not doing anything about the library. The words
Sexually explicit content.
Sexually explicit books in the library.
Inappropriate books.
Sexually explicit material.
Sexually inappropriate material.
Inappropriate materials.
A picture of a nude man.
Books that are unsuitable for children.
what they really mean is gender identity.
Right.
Transgender material.
Their big upset is people not conforming to standard norms of male, female gender identity.
Correct.
So if one of us started out the other way,
Or indeed any sexually deviant material.
that would not be good for them. So we're going to go into the library and take a look at what the youth section looks like. They don't want to ban these books. They want to move them from youth to adult.
Correct. They are being very careful not to use the word ban because
Or burn.
or burn, because that is a phrase that would get them closer to looking like Nazis. So they've been very careful not to use the word ban. So they're wanting to. My phrase that I've liked is segregate. They're wanting to segregate the books to a different section of the library, away from the children's section where they belong.
All right, we'll go inside. So Katie, why don't you be our tour guide here?
Sure.
Because you know what's in these stacks.
Sure. I am far from an expert, but based on my experience when I was searching for these books and in my previous experience here with my kids, so this is kind of the space where they live. So you've got, religion up top, and then down here...
Religion and mythology, I'm noticing.
Yes, religion and mythology. So all the books related to Christianity are on the top, and then the other religions and mythology are on the next shelf. All these books down here, this is kind of where I found several of the books on the gender identity movement when I was here in the past.
So that doesn't have its own pure section.
No, it does not. It's all mixed in. And these are books that are kind of about social movements. There are books about democracy. What is a refugee? Books about voting, suffragettes, that kind of thing. So, like I said, when I was here last time and I checked out a couple books, this is kind of where they were living. This is not really the area where the younger children are coming. So this is not necessarily where a 5-year-old would first gravitate when they walk into the library. They're going to go to the picture book section over there.
So the UBU and Jack Not Jackie, would they be over in that other section?
They would be in this section, I would imagine.
Let's see if we can find them.
We can go use the system and look them up and figure out exactly where they are.
Card catalog?
So it's real modern card catalog. It's very fancy now. So
the UBU, the gender identity book has been checked out, so we won't find that on the shelf.
It will not be here.
That's the one that Tom was holding up.
And this book is called UBU, The Guide to Gender, Sexuality, and Family. On here is a naked picture drawing of a naked man fully exposed, a naked woman fully exposed.
A picture of a nude man.
Fully exposed.
So this is another one that he talked about at the meeting that he had a problem with.
This book is called Jack Not Jackie. Okay, this was shared by the public with me in regards to their concerns. Highly controversial subject, need to be taught by the parent first. May be confusing, it's a sexual topic, and it's an adult theme.
And you said these would have been in those stacks we were looking at, not the very younger kids' picture book stacks.
Correct.
And they wouldn't be standing out with lights flashing and
No.
arrows pointing at them saying,
No, not
kids,
at all.
read this.
Not at all.
This book is kind of the opposite.
Correct. Yes, this is one that Councilman Audet specifically requested to include, which is something anybody in the county can do. They can request to have books added to the collection, or if they have a problem with books, there is a process through which they can go to have them reviewed and possibly removed from the collection.
Why don't we go back to the stack and see what we can just see on the shelves?
Perfect.
We're going to out a book. We don't know if this is one they've been talking about or not, but we're going to show you a book we found is just scandalous. The Bare Naked book.
This is in the Your Body and Senses section of the children's nonfiction spot.
Okay, what did we find inside?
All right, so first page, naked baby butt. I mean, I think they're cute, but I'm not sure what Councilman Audet would say about that right on the first page.
If he's having a heart attack with that, we're going to lay him out to rest in a moment.
Stand by.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we're in trouble now.
So, this book, clearly there's a trans man. There's a woman with her nipples pierced. It shows everybody, beautiful bodies. There's a woman breastfeeding.
I'm going to ask you what the point of a book like this is in a minute, but let's turn a page or two.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Nude children, penises, vaginas.
I'm wondering at what point this gets us taken down from YouTube.
I know. Hey, it's a book. Educational, you know?
Bums.
Naked moms running after naked babies.
And so what is the point of a book like this for a parent like you?
I love books like this because it helps illustrate that all bodies are different. No body is made the same. All bodies have different scars, different marks. There are big bodies, there are little bodies, there are strong bodies, there are not as strong bodies. So books like this help illustrate that to children in really digestible ways. Everybody's got a story like this where you're in public with a child and the child points and says, "Mommy, what's that?" And they're staring at, somebody who has an artificial limb or something like that. So books like this help me educate my children in the privacy of our own home so that they're informed and they're educated, and I'm the one helping educate them. If one of my boys sees a mom breastfeeding a baby, they're not going to have to ask me what's going on because we've talked about it. It's in a book. This helps open that door to have conversations about so that we can be more understanding and more compassionate. And I think raising compassionate children is not ever a bad thing. So that's it.
Yeah, and you checked out some books.
I did.
You got the Bare Naked book.
I got the Bare Naked book, and I got a book about the Friendship 9 down in Rock Hill.
All right. Thank you, Katie. That was awesome. I admit I was a little surprised for about 3 seconds at the very mild, very cartoony drawings of male and female genitals. I'm in my early 70s. I don't have kids. So this stuff certainly wasn't around when I was a kid. I think it might have helped me, but that's a story for another show. So Tom and his crew think that this is explicitly sexual, maybe even pornographic. And they're especially worked up about the books that explore gender identity. Their goal is to get the books moved from the children's section of the library to the adult section, even though they're written for children. As I'm producing this, Tom plans to make his pitch to the library board at their meeting tonight. That's Thursday, May 18th, 6 p.m. at the library in Rock Hill. Some of us plan to be there too. Best I can tell, they don't record or stream their meetings. There's a lot of stuff on their YouTube channel, but not the board meetings. So I'll try to post something about whatever decision they reach here on YouTube and our Facebook group. So fun stuff, right off the national headlines, landing right here in York County. My thanks to Katie for our library tour. I'm Gary Pierce, your host and producer for this episode, and we'll be back soon right here on the York County Democratic Party YouTube show and podcast YCDP TV.